Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. My name is Chris Meyer. I'm going to be your host today. And on the show today, we have Jody Madaras, who is the creator-producer of the show All Hands on Deck. First time he's been on the show. I think you're really going to enjoy the interview with him, so you'll want to check that out here in just a few moments. But before we do the interview, a couple things I want to mention to you. If you're thinking about coming to Branson with a group, I've got a free publication here I want to let you know about. It's called Ozark Trails. It's been around for about 46 years. If you will go to our Facebook page and message us and say, hey, I'd like that free group publication, we will get this sent to you. It's a free magazine. And so if you're thinking about bringing a reunion, a tour group, any type of group to Branson, this would be a great publication for you to have. Now, I've been giving away some free Cold Stone ice cream on the show, and today I have some more Cold Stone ice cream I want to give away. At the end of the show, if you will tell me who Jody Madaras is related to that is famous, we'll just put it in there, and then we'll draw from the folks that will respond to that and post on the site. So we'll give you 3 or 4 days to put that down, and then we'll pick a winner from whoever is posted. Broadway. You're going to find out that Jody's got a connection to Broadway, and Broadway is in New York. There's actually 41 professional theaters that have 500 or more seats located along Broadway. And so what I thought was really interesting was it became popular in New York in 1750. And so there's a long, long history there of Broadway shows. Walter Murray and Thomas Keene were actor managers, and they established the first significant theater in 1750. But what's interesting is that when the American Revolution started in 1775, theater in New York City was suspended, and it didn't return until 1798. And even back in those days, they had theaters with 2,000, 3,000 theater seats. And so that's a little bit of history of the Broadway segment. So we'll be talking a little bit about Broadway style shows, hopefully throughout the show today. So we'll be back in just a second with Jody Madaras from All Hands on Deck.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson, and today for the first time ever on the show, I have Jody Madaras, and so it's good to have you on the show.
Great to be here, Chris. Thanks for having me.
I've known you for quite a long time, but we just haven't had you on the show yet, so
I'm glad to be here, glad to be with everyone.
Now, here's the deal. I try to do research ahead of time, and I found out a ton of information about you, and it's really quite impressive. And so I think you should tell, because sometimes people don't toot their own horn, but I think you need to give people your history because it is quite amazing.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Where would you like to start?
I want you to go way back.
Way back.
Way back. Like, how did you get into this business?
I was born in a modest 14-room log cabin in Pemberville, Ohio. Actually, I'm from a small town called Pemberville, Ohio, in northwestern Ohio, and we have a 100-acre farm, the Madaras Farm. And my family came from Budapest, Hungary in 1911, and farmers. And growing up in Ohio, I was, of course, subject to farming. But I suddenly kind of joined into the choir, the swing choir. I learned the piano, took piano lessons, trombone, and I got into music. And then I got into theater. And that's how it started. Mm-hmm. In junior high school, I actually had an English teacher who was a part-time magician. And one day, Mr. Slagle, the English teacher, was showing us some magic tricks, and I happened to say, well, I do some magic too. And Mr. Slagle said, well, why don't I could be your magic coach? Well, I ended up forming my own magic show, with a high school friend of mine, David Bolus, who is now a chaplain with the rank of colonel in the United States Army. David and I would go around Ohio and do our magic act, and that's really how I got on stage. From there, I went to the University of Michigan in musical theater and graduated from the University of Michigan in 1990. And there you are. And from there, I moved to New York, and I was very much blessed to get work right away in musical theater in New York. And when you are working in New York, it's the most competitive market in the world. Show business, the hardest business of all. But I got work right away in touring and regional theater, and that's how I got started.
Yeah. And so you're when it said here you're a professional magician, like I didn't even know you did magic.
Well,
and so
yes.
But that's how you got started.
That's how I got started. And it was kind of simple. When you're from a rural community in Ohio, you only have so many opportunities in the arts. There's only so many shows you can be in. There aren't that many opportunities, to be honest with you. And I found I wanted to get in front of the audience and get more comfortable in front of an audience, and magic was a great way to do it.
Yeah. So tell people a little bit more about some of the things that you did when you were in New York City and that.
Absolutely. Well, a few of my credits include the first Broadway national tour of The Drowsy Chaperone, which is a very funny little musical. Also, the first European tour of Crazy for You, which is a wonderful Gershwin musical, all singing, all dancing. I have been on CBS television on As the World Turns. I actually played a priest, and I don't know if the folks would find that funny or interesting or whatever. I happen to be Catholic, so it was an easy gig.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite credits is a concert version of Finian's Rainbow, an old musical from the 1940s that we did on Broadway with Lauren Bacall. So if anybody knows who Lauren Bacall is, or you could research it. Those are some of my favorite credits.
Yeah. And so you're doing lots of different things, and that's part of the challenge of being an entertainer because these parts don't last forever, right?
Well, that's right. At Michigan, they taught us, University of Michigan, they taught us that you can have a job or you can have a career, right? I chose a career. So when you choose to have a career, you have to have as many skills as you can in the arts, whether it's, you play a musical instrument, you can do ventriloquism, you can dance. But for most people, you have to be what's known as a triple threat. You have to be able to sing, you have to be able to dance, and you have to be able to act a part, someone other than yourself. If you can do those three things fairly well, you stand a pretty good chance at having a career in musical theater.
Yeah. And so you've been in that business for how long now?
Well, if I tell you that, then the viewers are going to know how old I am, right?
And so that's one of the things you don't want them to know, right?
All I can tell you is I was in New York during September 11th when the attack happened on the World Trade Center. If that gives you any indication, I was well into my career at that time. So
there you go. So tell us how you got to Branson, or what led to Branson.
Great question. While we were touring with the All Hands on Deck show all across the United States, I love telling this story. If I had a nickel for every time someone said, "Hey, is this show playing in Branson, Missouri? I bet you do great there, and it should be there." And I said, "Branson, Missouri? Well, I haven't been to Branson since 1995. I never really thought of the show being in Branson." So I came to Branson in 2014 several times, once a month for almost a year. And I really got to learn about Branson. I went to see all the shows. I went over to that Silver Dollar City. Now that's a neat place too.
Yeah.
But the shows are what I was really interested in. And the Duttons happened to, I met with the Duttons, and they happened to have a morning show slot open. And they said, "Would you like to be the morning show?" Well, who wouldn't? Then that's how I got to Branson.
Yeah. So, but the show itself, you have created.
Yes.
And you developed, and you were doing it other places before it came to Branson.
Yes. We opened the show in 2012 in Perrysburg, Ohio, at a small theater in Perrysburg, which is a suburb of Toledo. And from there, the Gershwin organization actually picked up the show and for a while, and they were our booking agent. And they sent us all around the United States, big theaters, little theaters, A-list theaters, outdoor theaters. We played a 6,000-seat outdoor theater in New Jersey. I'll never forget it. It was full.
That's awesome.
6,000 people. And so we started in 2012 touring. And then, like I said, in 2014 and 15 is when we began to transition to Branson, as well as touring. So we tour most of the year, and then we're in Branson. We're going to be in Branson next year, obviously, starting in April. We'll be here all year again. And but when the weekends come, we take the show on the road.
Yeah. So Branson, I think, and you tell me if I'm wrong. It's okay if I'm wrong, but it becomes a good base because there is credibility in having a show in Branson. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I tell you, the allure for me of Branson is the community, the people, the clean air, the food, the smiles, the Branson wave when you pull out in front of someone. The other person waves you in.
I'm waving.
The Branson wave.
No,
Let's
yeah.
remember that. Yeah, that's why I like Branson. But yes, of course, the tourists that come here for entertainment, they love our show. I think the All Hands on Deck show has certainly become Branson's most popular morning show, and I'm very blessed that that's the case.
Well, and how would you explain that show to somebody? Because what is it like?
Sure. The All Hands on Deck show is a celebration of swing, big bands, and the music of the 1940s. It's all singing, all dancing, all American. It's like a Bob Hope USO show, and the entire show is set in 1942. So it's World War II era from head to toe. Some of the actors in the show, you wouldn't even recognize them on the street. They do quite a transformation. And then the show happens to have Branson's largest all-live orchestra. I have a 9-piece big band, 13 pieces total, that'll knock your socks off. And they're some of Branson's finest musicians. I'm very proud to have them on the deck.
Yeah. Well, and I went on your website last night, and you had listed some of your other, what I'd say, staff or crew or performers, and they got, pretty good credentials.
Oh yeah, they're all top notch.
Yeah.
That's why the show is so good.
Yeah. So you're going through, like right now, you're in September. You're going to go through what, mid-December?
December 9th.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then you will start up again when?
Yeah, the 1st of April.
Okay.
And we do Tuesday, Wednesday mornings throughout the whole year. And then when we get into September and October, we add on a Thursday and a Friday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
In the fall of next year.
So when people think of 1940s music, a lot of people weren't, of course, born then.
Well,
now.
we weren't.
Yeah,
That's a
so
good one,
you're
isn't it?
you're kind of doing something that really a lot of other people are not.
Well, I'll tell you, when you're sitting in your apartment in New York City and it's 2009 and all your buddies are writing Broadway shows, and you say, well, I could write a show. And I thought to myself, what ground do I walk on that no one else does? And I love the music of the 40s. My grandparents would sing it and play it on the radio and their record albums. I love that music. And then at Michigan, most of the greatest American musical theater songs come from the 1940s and 50s, the golden age of the American musical. So I set the date as 1942. It's also one of the most pivotal years in world history because 1942 was a year, one of the last great years, where our country was fully united. I wanted to capture a time when we were all united. Everyone had something to contribute to our country. All hands on deck. And that's why I titled the show All Hands on Deck Show. And so it was easy to choose that year.
Yeah. Now you've been doing some other things too recently, and so talk about that as well.
Yes, well, definitely. Most recently, I premiered a new show called The Wonderful World of Dylan Pratt. And this is kind of a long story, but in essence, during the year of COVID, I created with the help of some friends, a new nonprofit professional regional theater called Theater for America. And one of our parts of our mission is to create new works. I happened to run into a fellow named Dylan Pratt who lives here in Branson. He's a wonderful performer. He is a person with autism. He's very high functioning. And I decided to create a show based on all of his creative abilities. He sings, he dances, he's a choreographer, he's a ventriloquist, he's an impressionist, he plays the drums, the keyboards, on and on. So I created The Wonderful World of Dylan Pratt, and we just did it a couple of weeks ago at the Dutton Theater, and it showcases an actor with autism. and he was surrounded by wonderful ensemblemen in the area, dancers from Sunshine Dance Studio. Terry Sanders made an appearance. It was just a wonderful, wonderful moment for Dylan, but also putting autism in the spotlight.
Okay.
And so that was the last big project, a new project that I did.
Yep. Folks, we'll be back in just a minute with more.
Venture back to a time when our country was fully united at the All Hands on Deck show. Experience for yourself a real-life roadshow and radio broadcast from 1942, complete with all the songs, tap dancing, and laughs that Americans of all ages have loved for more than 70 years. Broadway veterans Jody Madaras and Valerie Hill lead this all-American cast as they treat you to swingin' melodies, Broadway-style tap dancing, and the rich sounds of the Hollywood Victory Caravan Orchestra. Discover the All Hands on Deck show.
Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson. We are here with Jody Madaras, who is the creator, owner, producer of All Hands on Deck. And you know, I just forgot to take a break a moment ago, and I'm going to admit that. Like, we just went super far along, and so, but we think like Jody was just so amazing, we just forgot. But let's
right.
Here's some other things that about you that a lot of people will not know, and they probably won't hear this on stage. But you are the great-great-great-grandson of a former president, President John Quincy Adams.
That is correct.
That's pretty cool.
Well, you know, once in a while it gets me a free meal.
Yeah. Now, it also says here that you do impressions. Do you still do those?
Well, I do impressions once in a while.
Can you give us any?
Well, yes, I can. I'm glad you asked me. A former president might come in the room and he might sound something like this. Well, Chris, it's good to be here with you today. And Nancy, of course, dropped me off outside of Play Branson, and I'm delighted to be with the viewers. And let me just say that Branson is the place to be, and God bless America.
There we go.
How's that?
Little Ronald Reagan right
no,
there.
It was Calvin Coolidge.
Yeah. Oh. Now, besides producing and doing all this stuff, like you play several instruments as well.
I do. I play the piano. I suppose you could say I'm a concert pianist. I've never been hired for that, but I do play the piano a lot. And I play the trombone quite a bit. And I learned the trombone starting in 5th grade and ended up being in marching band as drum major. And I conducted the Boy State Orchestra the year I was a Boy Stater, 1988.
Now, the other thing that's on here, and I don't know that I've ever seen this on anybody's deal, is the xylophone.
The xylophone. Here's how it works. I was auditioning for a very famous American play called You Can't Take It With You in New York. And the director pulled me aside and said, Jody, do you play the xylophone? And one thing they teach you is to always say yes if you think you can do it. And I said, yes, I can play the xylophone. I've never touched the xylophone in my life. So I immediately ran home. The xylophone is laid out just like a piano, and I do play the piano. So I took a lesson on the xylophone, went back the next day, played a xylophone, and I got the role.
There you go.
So there you
go. Now, you and I have something in common, and it is not that I can speak 4 languages like you. Wait, 1, 2, 3, actually maybe 5. I didn't know that about you either. He speaks like 5 languages, but one of the things that says you like to do is roller skate.
Roller skate. I do like to roller skate.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that also came out of an audition for the Broadway company of The Drowsy Chaperone. One of the roles I auditioned for, the character has to roller skate blindfolded on stage. And once again, Casey Nicolau, the director of the show, said, do you roller skate? And I said, yes. Never roller skated in my life. Sorry, Casey.
No. Oh, no.
So the next day I went out and took a roller skating lesson. But I never was asked to do it in the audition or the callback. I happened to get the job. That's how I got into the Drowsy Chaperone. After I got the job, they sent me to an Olympic roller skater who taught me how to roller skate.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then, of course, you had to do it blindfolded. That's another story.
I haven't roller skated in a long time, but I probably spent most of my junior high and high school years on Saturday at the roller skating rink, and I could do tricks, 360s forward, backward. I could do all that stuff.
Wow.
And I can speed skate. I still have the skates that I had in high school. I still have them, and they still fit.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, it's
that?
one of those hidden talents that I have that
Yeah.
nobody knows about.
Maybe
So,
I'll get you in a show and you
there
can
we
roller.
go. That
you
would
could
be.
do
I could do some
Starlight
tricks.
Express or something.
I
They
could do
just-
some tricks. I would personally like to be in a show where I rap. So anybody
Where you rap?
Rap. I think I could rap okay. You don't have to have a singing voice to rap.
No comment.
Right?
Just
So-
a little rhythm and a lot of courage.
A lot of courage. There we go. I used to, if I ever did like karaoke, I would do like something for Tone Loc because I'm like, you can't hardly mess that up, right?
No, you
No.
can't. It's all ad lib.
Yes. So anyway, enough about me. Okay, all hands on deck at the Dutton Theater.
Yes.
Give people the time again.
Great. The All Hands on Deck show is at the Dutton Theater, 10 a.m. only. I only do morning shows. The schedule is on allhandsondeckshow.com. You can see our tour schedule and our Branson schedule.
There you go.
Yep.
Folks, this has been another edition of Play Branson. We'll be back in just a minute with wrapping the show up. Hey folks, welcome back to the show. We're wrapping the show up today. We want to thank Jody for the interview. He was incredible. His show will be going now through December 9th, so be sure to go check it out over at the Dutton Theater. It's at 10 o'clock on select dates, so you can catch that online or you can go to ibranson.com as well and get his schedule there. Upcoming events. Starting soon, September 24th through October 30th. Harvest Festival out at Silver Dollar City. They are expanding the pumpkins in the city to more locations. Of course, throughout the day they have crafters there and that type of thing, so you'll want to be sure to check that out. Coming up on September 18th, we have Lone Star out at Silver Dollar City as well. The Oak Ridge Boys starting September 22nd with multiple dates throughout the fall. They're typically over at the Mansion Theater. We have Jimmy Fortune, Daly and Vincent. Also happening later into September, October, and some dates in November. Larry's Country Diner coming up on October 4th through the 8th. Typically, he has some guest entertainers with him as well. Neil McCoy, October 8th, followed by some dates in November. The Bellany Brothers, October 15th. Gene Watson, October 16th, and a date in November. And then the Gatlin Brothers, also October 23rd, and a date in November. So those are some special limited engagement shows. You might want to check those out. Plus, we have tons of wonderful, awesome shows all throughout the year here in Branson. This is the place to come for live family entertainment, Branson, Missouri. Also have great golfing, great show or attractions. We've got the lakes. So this is the perfect place to come for your fall vacation. And coming up soon is going to be Ozark Mountain Christmas in November and December. So if you've been staying home and you're like, I'm not going anywhere, don't live in fear, live in faith, and come have fun in Branson, Missouri, because we all need some fun in America. Have a good day. We'll see you next week.